Hey everybody, I'm Penguin Pat here, and today we're going to talk about one of the biggest pieces of bad advice that I hear repeated just before moving into a new difficulty in Diablo Immortal. As the server Paragon level starts scooching closer and closer to that magical 150 where we can move into H4, you're going to see more and more people in chat requesting to do H4 runs and H4 dungeons. And if you go on YouTube, you'll see people say, come over here and click on this and pick H4 because this is where you should be farming.
The whale told you this? Did it write you a letter?
As great and wonderful as that sounds, that might not be the best advice in the world. The reason it has become so popular to bump up difficulty and start farming H4 or whatever the new difficulty is before you're able to equip that gear is because it allows you to pre-farm gear that will be potentially massive upgrades for you before you even get to that level.
If you have the tooth of a whale, you must have the whale's jaw to wield it.
And who wouldn't want to have a trove of terrific gear waiting for them when they get to that magical 150 or whatever the cutover is for the new difficulty level? Now, the problem with this approach is combat rating. You see, combat rating was put into place to keep players from being able to farm content that is significantly above their Paragon level. And it reduces the damage that you do to the mobs that you're fighting, and it allows them to do significantly more damage to you. And unless you're a whale,
sir,
and you have a ton of decked out legendary gems, or you're a free-to-play player that has been grinding your face off.
It's like any other job. You don't gamble. You grind it out.
In order to get a Paragon level far above the server Paragon level, chances are your combat rating is going to be significantly lower than the expected and necessary combat rating for the next level difficulty. As you can see here, because I'm at a combat rating that is 232 points lower than the required H4 difficulty, I do 66 less damage and enemies do almost 200% more damage to me. And that starts to become a really big problem if every member of your party is 200 combat rating or more below the requirement. Since there's not a ton of information out there yet about how combat rating affects the damage you deal and how much damage you take, we went ahead and gathered over 100 different combat rating variations to see just how much it affects the damage you deal and the damage you take. To make it easier to visualize how you are penalized for being below the combat rating or buffed for being above it, we have this chart. Now at exactly 0 above or below, which means that you are at the required combat rating, no more, no less, you will do 5,000 damage if that's our base. And as you get further and further below the required combat rating, you take exponentially more damage and you do significantly less damage as well. So if you are at 500 combat rating below the required combat rating, that measly 5,000 damage hit that zombie hit you for turns into 43,000 damage. And when you are dropping those meteors and bombs and whatever the hell it is that you do that normally hits for 5,000, it only hits for a measly 600. And that makes you pretty much worthless in most parties.
You could carry me like a little baby.
If you are 500 combat rating below the required amount. Okay, worthless might have been an exaggeration. Despite the fact that your attacks are the equivalent of mosquito bites, there's still a little bit that you can do to help the party of players that you roll with.
Will there be a whale?
The first thing to do would be to focus on buffing them as much as possible to make their job more easy. You see, if you have the option of using Vithu's Urges and the 4-piece set, you can actually provide a really nice damage increase for the party by buffing them. Obviously, classes like Crusader with the Holy Banner can become a much bigger contributor even if they aren't directly attacking. Even the Wizard can use Icon of Synchronicity with Ice Armor and Bottled Hope and Vithu's Urges to become a potent buffer for your whales or just for your players that have put in that serious grind and are there to carry you. If you are trying to join or form a party and you are significantly below the required combat rating for the content you are about to do, at a minimum, at least let the players involved know that you're going to need to be carried a little bit.
Can you just carry me, please?
What?
There's nothing wrong with that, and most players are happy to carry you if they can. But occasionally, you'll find other people who are in the same boat as you and need to be carried. And if you all get in the same boat, you're just going to sink.
Will you carry me?
No.
On the flip side, if you are a well-developed player and you can afford to carry someone that cannot do the content that you are working on, it's really good to go ahead and help them out because it will help them to progress faster, and ultimately, if they're your clanmate, will help your clan to be stronger. Plus, it's just good karma, and I don't even believe in karma. Pushing into new difficulties and higher level content isn't the only place that we're going to see players that are far below the required combat rating. With the way server Paragon level works, players are going to be getting a massive experience boost, and they're going to be increasing their Paragon level significantly faster than their combat rating or their gear really merits. And they're going to need help getting geared up so that they can fend for themselves. If you come across a player like this that is wildly undergeared for their Paragon level, I encourage you to party up with them and bring them along for your world farming or dungeon runs, especially if you can comfortably and easily do those dungeons.
And he came on the back of a whale. A man to lead a new people.
Because they need help, and without your help, they're going to have a really hard time getting geared up in a timely and reasonable way. Since we've already said that going kamikaze mode straight into higher level difficulty might not be the best approach, let's talk about some things that would be a good approach. One of the first things that you'll want to do is make sure that you are all caught up on your challenge rifts, particularly the solo victory award checkpoints that you have to beat in order to get the correct level gear from vendors.
And you didn't have to carry me once.
You see, if you haven't completed these solo victory points, then you will continue to get previous difficulty gear, even if you reach and surpass the Paragon level mentioned in that difficulty. Besides granting you the appropriate difficulty and level gear for completing the challenge rifts, the challenge rifts also offer a couple of other important things. One thing is that they let you know if you're ready for the content. If you're struggling to complete a challenge rift that is for your content, then that probably means that you're not really ready to move up by yourself. Now, obviously, if other players are happy to work with you to get you through the content, go for it. But you'll definitely spend more time dying.
Getting killed can build up a whale of an appetite.
Than you spend farming if you can't complete the challenge rifts and you move up a difficulty. Also, completing challenge rifts will get you some of those extra gold crystals that you need to upgrade your secondary gear, and that can add a couple of extra combat rating, which can frankly be the difference between getting through a difficulty and dying every time. Another thing that you'll want to do is start saving up your gold coins at least 10, if not more levels before you reach your new difficulty, because you can buy primary armor and weapons from the antique dealer and get amazing legendaries. In fact, I got my first triple from this guy at level 80, and even now the game rates it as a better piece of gear than my current weapon. Finally, remember that you must complete the challenge rift for the new difficulty and be of the minimum Paragon level requirement for vendors to give you gear of that new difficulty, of that extra yummy new higher quality. Otherwise, you're going to still keep getting gear from that previous difficulty. So if you know that you are about to complete this challenge rift and that you are about to hit that minimum level requirement, save up your bounties, save up your contracts if you're Shadow. Heck, if you're an Immortal, you don't have to claim this chest at the beginning of the day. You can wait till the end of the day and hope that you get some of that extra yummy goodness legendary gear. As I'm warning to Immortals though, these cannot be claimed and held overnight. If you don't claim them, you lose them, so definitely be sure to claim it before the end of the night. Alright guys, that just about wraps it up. If you were looking for this spreadsheet and chart, you can find a link to it in the comments below. And if you found this video to be helpful at all, please like and subscribe and share with your friends, and I will catch you in the next video.